Wow. You all have probably heard the phrase ending sexual violence in one generation a lot this week, and that's intentional. The theme of this year's conference is inspired in part by the national partnership RALIANCE. Today, we are honored to have the three managing partners of RALIANCE to join us today: Monica Johnson-Hostler, Karen Baker, and my boss, Sandra Henriquez, who I'm very thankful for not firing me yesterday when I called out her birthday. Please welcome all three of them. Thank you.
He did hear from me, though, about that, especially since he seemed to enjoy it so much. Good morning, everyone. So excited about today. So proud. I was literally on the verge of tears seeing Megan and John up here, and they give me so much hope and inspiration, and I know that the plenary speakers that are going to follow are going to do the same for all of us, along with Megan and John. So thank you so much. It really does give me hope and optimism that all of the work is going to continue in the very, very capable hands of these young people that are coming up. Thank you. So I want to talk a minute about RALIANCE. And so how many of you have heard of RALIANCE? Many of you. Great, great, great. Okay, so I want to talk about it, and for those of you who haven't, you're going to hear about us now. It's a national partnership dedicated to ending sexual violence in one generation. When we came together, we were bold, and we said we want to do something that is bold, and we came up with that tagline, knowing people would be, what the heck are they talking about? But we said we don't care, because we know there's an urgency and we want to do this now. And we borrowed that tagline for this conference. When the National Football League indicated that they would provide funding to invest in prevention, the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence, and CalCASA Prevent Connect decided that we wanted to do things differently and combine our strengths. So we wanted to bring these three very strong organizations together to create RALIANCE so that we could push the prevention of sexual violence beyond. We wanted to go beyond the field of rape crisis centers and into other parts of our society. Ending sexual violence in one generation is a bold mission, as we've said, and it's going to take all of us. Our name was inspired by our mission to be allies, to rally involvement with leaders from cultural institutions and communities who have not traditionally been a part of the anti-rape movement, and to be a reliable source of expertise to the nation. We build bridges between prevention experts and other industries and communities to promote a society that believes survivors and values equality and respect for all. We're grateful to the NFL for their multi-year and multi-million-dollar seed funding for RALIANCE. And we're grateful to Uber for their multi-year partnership and their determination to encourage other corporations to make meaningful change. When even one business or industry makes positive changes, it impacts many people and helps other companies think about what they might do to also become a part of the solution. The business community is influential in creating change and demonstrating that prevention is possible. RALIANCE is ready and eager to help companies to be a part of the solution. And as I've said a number of times, we recognize that many of these companies and industries have a reach that we do not have on our own. So by creating these strategic and essential partnerships, we can help to inform changes in policies and practice and prevention, help them to create strategies within their companies that can prevent. Sport is also an ideal institution to promote prevention and social change. In the last few years, we've researched how sport can cultivate and disseminate values that ultimately protect individuals and promote the principles of prevention. We launched the Sport and Prevention Center, a state-of-the-art online hub for the sport community with comprehensive solutions and resources that they can use with athletes, parents to prevent sexual harassment and abuse on and off the field. Again, they have a reach that we don't have. So if we can reach their players through this pipeline of young people who start in middle school, high school, college, the professionals, and their fan base, that's what we want to do, and we want to engage them in being a part of this solution. So lastly, we're just really excited to share all of the resources that we have. Go to reliance.org, see our site, and join us in continuing to be and help many of these companies and industries to grow. Thank you, and now Karen's going to come up. One more thing. I love working with these wonderful women. They're strong and powerful, and I'm just enjoyed so much this partnership that we have.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen Baker, and as you've heard, for Reliance, prevention is definitely a priority. We're promoting lasting cultural change so that sexual harassment, misconduct, and abuse will cease to exist. But change doesn't happen on its own, as we know. That's one reason that we're sponsoring a track here at NSAC. I hope that some of you have or will take the opportunity to go and learn what we're doing and what many of our grantees are doing. There's a lot of exciting work. We're investing in prevention through your ideas and your organizations with our Impact Grant Program. And I've seen many of our grantees here. I hope that many of you have applied for our most recent letter of intent that just closed last week. I look forward to reading those. Reliance, so far since 2016, we have completed 3 rounds of grants supporting 52 different projects throughout the states and territories, and we have invested $2.3 million prevention dollars towards this effort. Yeah. As Sandra mentioned, we just recently launched a new website. I invite you to go check it out. It is, as you might imagine, reliance.org. And on that new website, among other things, you can search all of our past and current grantees and find out what they're doing and who you can contact to find out more about a particular activity that you might want to replicate or in some way adopt. We have a 3-pronged approach to preventing sexual violence. We believe, first of all, that we must increase access to services for all survivors. Secondly, we need to prevent perpetration. And third, we need to strengthen communities and organizations to change that environment and the culture in which we all live to support more healthy and respectful behaviors. We fund grant programs working in all 3 of those areas, and we know that the interactions and the synergy among them is what will make the change possible. We also know that the concept of prevention can be difficult for many people to understand or to make concrete. And that's why Reliance and the National Sexual Violence Resource Center have been working with Berkeley Media Studies Group for the last several years to research how we can communicate more effectively about prevention. And so I'm pleased that we have this brand new resource just hot off the press this week for you at NSAC. It's called Where We're Going and Where We've Been, Making the Case for Preventing Sexual Violence. And there's no magic words, but there are a lot of tips and strategies that we can all use to get our message out more effectively, more quickly, and to more people. This is available in the exhibit hall at the Reliance booth. It's also available online. Thank you. I'm now going to turn it over to Monica.
For all of you that are my dear close friends, which is all 1,900 of you, But some of you may not know, I do not do well reading off a script, but I'm going to try really hard, so you all bear with me. Excuse me, I'm a free-flowing thinker. And thank you both to my colleagues. I'll start there to Sandra's point. When we decided that we would announce and own our expertise, that by far, my friends, was the first bold move. In this field, we are often taught and socialized that we don't take credit for the expertise that we have. I have the fortunate to have a partner who's an educator, and he reminds me every day that all of us have been taught by an educator at some point, and what we have, each of us in this room, is our intellectual property. And so if no one's told you, the first bold move you can take in this room, and the bold moves we can learn from millennials, is own your space, my friends. Own your space. You are indeed experts. And one of the reasons that it's so important to help people understand what we say and what we mean when we say prevention, and that is our responsibility, is because that we need to explain and help our citizens understand, constituents, everyone, that this is our work. Those of us who commit to this every day, it is our personal work, it is our professional work, but it is everyone's work if we're going to end sexual violence, indeed, in one generation. And when it comes to policy work, I'm very fortunate that I have colleagues who do the work on behalf of Reliance, that they know and are expressing that it is time for us to move beyond the traditional approaches. If we stuck to our traditional approaches, we would not be sticking to what we believe is our guiding North Star, and that's to be bold, to be principled, and to move forward in a way that we are not leaving behind communities, that we are being clear what we say is what we mean, and that we understand that setting these priorities are not just our priorities, but those priorities must be set by the people who are most impacted, and that is people who live their lives daily at the intersections. And so we are committed, not just in our prevention work, but we're committed in our policy work to center the margins, and we have done that, and we continue to be bold in reminding everyone else that if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so we all are the change that we've been waiting on. That is us, the people in this room. We are indeed the change. And Reliance is doing that by exercising those who live every day in ways that we cannot explicitly ignore: race, class, all the things that allow those of us who do this work, we are doing it for and with survivors and not for them. But our work is guided by them. Reliance also has worked with our young people, which I'm excited to hear. Dalton, I'm sitting at a table, so I'm kind of fangirling that our young people are sitting at this front table. But I say that to say, this march that you all are seeing on the screen, Dalton was one of those young people there. And they physically took the space and understood that policy work isn't just words on a paper, but it's the way that we live and the way that we are forcing, and I do mean that. We are moving the needle in a way that is forceful and bold to say that we have to be doing it. We're doing it on Capitol Hill, we're doing it in your communities, and we hope that these young people that you'll hear from, that you understand that we are indeed investing the dollars that you've heard Sandra and Karen talk about. We're investing it in our young people, and we are doing both the legislative and administrative policy, and we're promoting funding for survivors and services, providing prevention, access to state and local advocates to do the same work locally for them. And we're not just talking about the DC, but I will be remiss if I didn't mention that all of our work is also reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act, and I do indeed think that that's all of our work. And to that end, we all know that if we are indeed going to be committed to ending sexual violence in one generation, whether that's 1 year, 10 years, or 100 years, that we have to start today. And we have to keep saying that at every moment and every chance, that we have to start, and we have to be cultivating our young leaders. And you are about to hear and feel the way that those young people have been cultivated, and quite frankly, the way that they are cultivating those of us who've done this work for a long time. We believe that this is indeed the generation that will end sexual violence, and it's on everyone in this room to join, mentor, and uplift these young people and their voices. Reliance is dedicated to boldly fighting and advocating for a world free from sexual violence once and for all. Thank you.